Charlie, do you have anything to say on either the airlines or the Japanese market?
Well, the airline experience was very unpleasant for us. The net worth just melted. It was like $1.5 billion, and it just went 100 million, 100 million, 100 million, and finally the cash is running down. It is a very unpleasant experience, and we try and learn from those experiences, but we're very slow learners.
You do see certain industries where once they get down to a very few companies do extremely well, and you see other industries where even when they get to be two of them, they don't do that well. I mean, you can take Coke and Pepsi in the United States. I mean, they're the only two colas that people can name, and 50% or so of the soft drinks are colas. But if you go into a supermarket on the weekend, you will see them pricing their product at ridiculously low prices and competing very vigorously. So it's very industry specific. The airline industry, has this situation where they have very, very, very low incremental cost per seat, with enormous fixed costs, and the temptation to sell that last seat at a very low price is very high, and sometimes it can be very difficult to distinguish between the last seat and other seats. So it's a labor-intensive, capital-intensive, largely commodity-type business, and it's been, as Bill Miller points out in that question, it's been a death trap for investors ever since Orville took off. I mean, as I've said, if there had been a capitalist at Kitty Hawk, he should have shot down Orville and done us all a favor. But having neglected to do that, investors have poured money into airline companies and aircraft manufacturing companies now for 100 years plus, with terrible results. And if it ever gets down to where there's one airline and there's no regulation, it will be a wonderful business. And then the question is whether, having gotten down now through a lot of bankruptcies to a relatively few that are doing high percentage of the seat miles, whether it's a good business yet. I don't know the answer to, but I'm skeptical. Charlie?
Well, the last time we were presented with a similar opportunity was when the railroads did exactly what Bill Miller suggests. The railroads got down and consolidated and got better control of their labor costs, and it turned into a wonderful business. And what did we do? We missed it. And we stumbled in very late to the party, right?
Right.
So we've proven ourselves to be slow learners in this field. And it's conceivable, isn't it, that Bill Miller is right in what he suggests?
Which way do you bet?
It goes into my too hard pile.
Mine too.
But he could be right.
Yeah, sure he could. And it'll be fun to watch. But we like things we have stronger feelings about. We do not think that things will change dramatically. And with See's Candy, we've got even there, the real profitability is limited to the West Coast. But we do not see some competitor coming along and taking away business.
You really couldn't create another railroad, and
I hope not.
And you can create another airline
very easily, and you have people
that
like to do it.
That's what we don't like about it.
And people love doing it. It's exciting to people, and you can sell the idea. I've had probably a dozen proposals over the last 25 or 30 years from people that want to get into the airline business one way or the other, and a number of them have. It's sexy for some reason. I mean, you know, if you go to the office of some Mr. Big CEO and say, I want to talk to you about this new airplane, you get in the door. You know, I mean, if you want to talk to them about hauling coal or something, it's a little different. So it is a business that attracts people, and you can go out and raise money for a new airline, and the record is, it's really been something. I don't know how many bankruptcies there have been in the airline field, but it's an enormous number. And of course, some have done it more than once. We bought US Air. I bought that. I was at Garotz with Ed Kolodny, and he explained to me how wonderful the airline was. He's a good guy, incidentally. And I wrote a check, and by the time the check was cashed, they were having troubles. I mean, it did not take long.
No.
And then they went bankrupt twice. We were very lucky on it. We actually made quite a bit of money on it, as it turned out, because there was a little blip at one point. But I think it went bankrupt twice after we bought it. And Charlie and I were on the board, and we would look at these projections, you know, and they were just ridiculous. I mean, they never came true, did they, Charlie?
No. It was.
We were very popular because we actually pointed that out a few times.
What was the other question on Charlie?
Buying it.
Airlines. Oh,
Yes,
I always repress everything on airlines. I don't want to. We've never bought an airline common stock that I can remember. So what we did was we lent money to US Air for a 10-year period, and we had a conversion privilege there. It looked like it was a terrible mistake. I made the mistake, but we got bailed out. But we never made the determination. When we bought our stock, US Air was selling at $50 a share or thereabouts, the common. And we didn't have an interest in buying US Air at 50 or 40 or 30 or 20. And we got a chance to as things went along, all the way down to 4. And we never bought it. And we never bought American or United or Delta or any other airline. It is not a business that intrigues us. We did think it was intriguing to lend money to them with a conversion privilege, and it's worked out now because we got lucky, and because Steve Wolf came along and really rescued the company from right at the brink of bankruptcy. But we're unlikely to be in airlines, although, again, we wouldn't mind lending money to a lot of businesses that we wouldn't buy common equity in. I mean, that could happen again in various industries, including the airline industry.